Hello everybody, RegiTime here, and we're about to review a session I've literally just finished playing on the 25NL Party Poker Streets. I played a 45-minute session to record and review immediately after so I could remember what I was thinking. Not that I need to remember that much what I'm thinking, because if you'll forgive me before we start watching the videos, I'm just going to have a quick 5-minute ramble about my month, what I think I've done well. That's not going to take long. What I think I've done badly, that's probably what's going to take a while. And yeah, it's May has been. We'll have a look at the month at the end of the video on my graphs. It's been a very mediocre month. I've made money because basically I'm just not a moron, but I've played like a moron. Um, Earlier in the year, we talked a lot about my trying to use some mass data hacks in order to improve, and that had a fantastic effect on my win rate, on my confidence, on how much money I was making. And then slowly but surely, using GTO Wizard crept back in, and I started thinking too much, frankly, just thinking too much, and then making mistakes theoretically, losing confidence, and getting to a point where I wasn't happy with my game, which is where we've been at since basically since the start of the World Snooker Championship. During the World Snooker Championship, I used that time to do more study and less play. And unfortunately, my study was mostly using GTO Wizard. Um, and it just never ever works out for me. Those of you who watch my channel for a long time, you'll know that by now. Every time I dabble in GTO Wizard to try and improve, I actually get worse. That is been documented many times and will probably be documented again in the future. I ended up in May just playing some really mediocre poker, too passive, too weak, too stationary, not bluffing enough, but when I did bluff, just choosing bad spots to bluff in. It's just been rubbish, basically, absolute rubbish. I've also not played as much as I would like in the games I want to play in. I had a bit of a very short-lived GG adventure that went shit. Um, I've done well in my main game. I've done well enough in the party poker games, but not brilliant. But that's not because the games have got any tougher, it's just because I haven't played well. And it was, when would it have been? Wednesday, I think. Or maybe Tuesday, I cancelled my GTO Wizard subscription in a fit of petulance and as if to draw a line under, like, fuck GTO. I'm just going to do stuff that I think works well enough against population that I don't really need to fucking think about that much, and just like try and get back to having an autopilot game that's better than my, oh, let's have a really good think game. Oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, well, never mind. I'll just be fucking weak and passive and nitty. Which I think that's how most of the reg population at 25 and L plays. They're probably giving themselves too much to think about. They get confused. They don't know what to do, and they end up just playing too tight, too passive, too often. And that's where I was basically all month. Hopefully, we've drawn a line. And the last couple of days have been pretty fucking good in terms of like my results. Obviously, sample size, LOL, short term variance, etc. But it just feels like I've been playing much better, and I've enjoyed it more. So without further ado, let's get into the video. We're not going to speed it up because it's fast enough as it is. We might get more than one video out of this. I can't see me getting through a 45-minute video in one sitting for, say, it's just probably going to get 2 videos out of this. It's probably going to take me an hour and a half to get through it. And I'm not doing one hour and a half video. So my overall strategy is basically leaning on the knowledge that population overfolds nearly every node. Now, that's not to say we can be aggressive all the time in every node, but we should be looking to be aggressive far more often than I've been lately. And probably far more often than you are if you're watching this video. Unless you're Tommy. And then I'm not more aggressive than Tommy. We're not going to comment on all the really boring stuff. It'll take too long. Just when we get in interesting spots. We have two queens up on the top left table. We've opened, and we've got a reasonable flop. Do we want to bet this flop? That's the first question. I ended up checking. I think we have. I think our hand's not strong enough to go for multiple streets of value. It's clearly too strong to bluff with. And it serves quite nicely as something that can call down versus bet. So that's probably the line we're going to take initially. Your man now leads for 40% on the turn. It's going to be a very easy call for us. We'll get to this in a minute on this table, the ace king. With the queens, we'll just tackle that one first. If your man bets, we're going to call. If he checks, we should probably bet. Versus this size, I think it gets pretty close. What do I think takes this line? King X obviously takes this line. Ace Queen, hyper unlikely. Queen 9, hyper unlikely. Do we think a jack bets this size on the river? Maybe. There's a lot of merging going on at the micro stakes. A hell of a lot. I think our hand ultimately is too strong to fold and too strong to bluff with. I don't remember what we did here. But we obviously beat all bluffs. We beat some jack exits merging, some 10 exits merging. I don't think it's a particularly good spot, but I think we should just call our hand and move on. While we're thinking about things, over on this table we've got a flop of Queen 10-5, as you can see. So we have a gut shot. We have the backdoor nut flush draw. I don't think we've got a ton of fold equity here. But I think we have a pretty easy C bet. It's just going to be a nightmare if we check and then he starts betting like half pot or bigger. Just in a tough spot. We just have a pretty easy range bet and then take it from there. Don't know what I'm fucking thanking for on the bottom left table. I'm really in the tank with the queens. We do a call and the man was bluffing. Here we're going to go with, well, let's see what size we go with. I think probably would bog standard shit red quarter pot is going to be the size we want to use. Down here on the right hand table, we opened ace jack, and I think, let's just rewind it back. Did Willem donk the flop? No, we see bet, we range bet the flop. And now we've got a situation where we're going to get donked into on the turn. This is just weird. I suspect this is significantly underbluffed, where it goes check call and then someone just decides, yeah, you know what, mate, I'm just going to bet over 3/4 pot, donk bet 3/4 pot on the turn. I don't know what's going on here. It could be a set that's check called, and now it's like, oh shit, now there's some draws coming. I'm scared. Let's just bet big. It could be turn to draw, although that seemed way less likely, but hand like 10-9 might do this, although that wouldn't be typical of population in my experience. Yeah, I think we're probably going to be struggling here to have a profitable call, but we're not going to fold, obviously. Because if we can hit a heart on the river, we can sometimes bluff. Sometimes we might just have the best hand still. We can obviously improve to two pairs and set trips, etc. Get jammed on the top right table, and it's just like, well, okay, I guess we fold. And then the two just fucking nearly pots the river. This is the custom size. Custom sizes are, in my experience, significantly underbuffed. And by custom size, I mean he hasn't just hit like 2/3 pot, 3/4 pot, or whatever. He's chosen a 20 bet size of 20 big blinds. I think when people make custom bet sizes, it's significantly underbluffed. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's typically what my read would be. If he'd just hit some random 16.2 here or something, so he's just hit his 3/4 pot button, I'd be more inclined to call than I am versus the custom size. But let's see if we do find the fold. And this player turns out to be a fish. I didn't know at the time. Still don't hate this 3-bet, but I'm less inclined to 3-bet light versus fish than I am versus regs. Do get called. I expect with this combination, backdoor diamonds, hit a king or a 9. That might be good. Backdoor straight draw, etc. I suspect we're just going to find out a range bet. Not expecting to get loads of folds now, but we're going to get enough folds, and then the additional equity we can pick up is probably going to make it okay. Do get called. Probably going to be a turn card that I'm shutting down on, I would imagine. It's not a good barrel card against somebody who, well, it's just not a good barrel card. It doesn't matter against somebody who's this, that, or the other. I was about to say something meaningless. But yeah, I just think it's not the greatest of turn cards to barrel on against a fish. And we can still sometimes improve on the river and make a value bet, or a scary card can come and we can make a bluff. So it's not like we're giving up on the hand, we're just choosing not to barrel turn. No, Reg, don't do it. No, Reg. No, Reg, that is such a bad barrel. Now we're going to have to bluff it off because we've hit one of the best cards for us to bluff on. Reg, that barrel. I only played that hand literally 40 minutes ago and I cannot remember barreling it. Fuck me, I'm getting old. Now we just have a mandatory bluff on the river. You know, we can get plenty of folds from 8x, 6x, etc. When we just can't check this hand down. So we're going to have to bluff it. And I guess if we're bluffing, we're up in a flush, we're all in, I would imagine. Clearly, we're not trying to make a queen fold, but we can definitely get a 6 or an 8 to fold for this size, I would imagine. And it works. But that was not a good turn bet, in my opinion. Isolating the ace king, flopping trips. What can possibly go wrong? Range bet. Good start, Reg. And that was that. That was all she wrote. Flopping 2 pairs, top left table. Betting big. He called. Miserable turn card. On the bottom left, we opened pre-flop and we checked the Queen 9-5 flop with a nut flush draw. We can bet here, we can check. I don't really mind either. I think with my nut flush draws, I'm happy to play them a bit more passively, especially when I'm out of position. Don't want to bet, get raised, be in a tough spot. We can just have the best hand with ace high, etc., etc. We can certainly, it's not a problem check calling. Turn with the 9-8, we guess we're just going to fold. We just lose to two pairs, we lose to straights, we lose to sets. Don't improve very often. When we do, we might still not have the best hand. On the river, on the bottom left table, we have can we block that river? Maybe not. Yeah, this hand made me want to weep. The guy, he's got two pairs. He's flopped top two pairs, and somehow he's only managed to get 7.8 blinds in after the flop. I mean, what is the guy waiting for? Where's the rest of the pot? I mean, he could have won so much more from me there. We could easily just go check, call, check, call, check, puke. Yeah, this is not good from villain. This is the sort of thing that was like gets inside my head when I'm studying theory and I'm thinking about this, that, and the other. And it's like, well, these people are just so damn fucking passive, and I just get fucked up basically. Whereas I'm trying to use. Don't get me wrong, I'm far from a mass data fucking mastermind. Far from it. I've got two notes with like 10 bullet points of what my strategy is. It's a very blunt instrument, but it's very effective. And I've lost track of what I was saying there. But yeah, when I'm trying to study and implement good theoretical poker, I don't know what my strategy is. I have no fucking clue what my strategy is. I don't know what frequencies to use, what sizes to use, etc., etc. I'm a very blunt instrument sort of guy. And going back to this hand, no, I've totally lost my train of thought. Fuck off, getting old, Reg. Oh god, I'm demented. I'm not as demented as Donald Trump, who, by the way, if you haven't seen it, look at his like post-court interview on all your news channels. The man's just fucking. He is demented, but we're not getting off on a derail. That was very funny watching that though. I was watching it thinking, fucking hell, mate. You are absolutely fucking. Do you believe what you said? Do you not? Do you not believe it? Are you just playing to a crowd? I don't know, but you are fucking demented. But I'm getting there. Totally lost track of this hand and what I was going to say, so we're just going to fucking move on. Now I'm pulling the replay up there just to be like, what? Did he really check back two pair? I was incredulous. I was incredulous at his two pairs that he didn't put more money in the pot than he did. So yeah, basically my strategy is go for overfolds. Like try and play a bit wider pre-flop because we already know population overfolds. They don't three bet enough, but yes, that's a point I want to talk about. Like the problem when I'm playing too weak tight and too nitty is we know population don't three bet enough. We know that they're significantly under three bet, and it's nearly always linear and never polar. We know all that. But what we also know is they overfold, and that's why I haven't been attacking at all this month. Like pre-flop overfolds, it's happening. When we look in our database, you look at people's like cold call or two bet ranges and what have you. It's somewhere between 7 and 10% for the reg population, and that's mostly made up from big blinds where they're maybe calling, I don't know, something between 35 to 45% of hands. That the cold call from other positions just doesn't exist. It's we're looking at somewhere between 3 and 6% in the reg population for cold call in middle position, cut off, button, etc. People are playing pretty much a three bet or fold strategy pre-flop, but they're not three betting anywhere close to enough. So therefore, it probably just means we get way more value on our post flop opens, way more like fold equity, should say, not value. So we can just open, and then we could just be very comfortable in the knowledge that no matter what position we open from, the reg population's overfolding every single position until the big blind. So we can just open wider, and when we meet resistance, we can just take that for what we think it's worth. When we meet resistance in terms of calls, we're going to be up against usually pretty narrow, pretty compact range of hands that probably should be in 3-bet ranges sometimes, but aren't. Um, and then just other hands that just want to call. So hands like pocket pairs that are set mining. Some hands like 5-4, 6-5, 7-6, etc. That sometimes mix 3-bet, but usually pure fold. But they're going into some calling ranges, etc. Um, and then probably just some egregious overfolding. And I'm guilty of that as much as the next man. So we know, or I know that I can open wider pre than I do. Like historically, for a long, long time, I've been an incredibly tight player pre-flop. I don't meet um, theoretical pre-flop ranges, but that's something I'm going to actively work on very hard during the next few weeks, months, to try and open wider than theory, just because of the overfolding that's going on. And then when we do meet resistance, proceed with due diligence and caution. Ace king off here. I remember this time we just rip. Completely happy with that. This is going to be a linear range, not a polar range, where he squeezes from the big blinds. Ace king's doing fine against that, and we could really use some fold equity. So happy enough with that. Very standard play. Just folding the sixes versus a very linear range. Sixes are in bad shape there. Versus range, we're going to be put under quite a lot of pressure post flop. A lot of the time, he's going to be able to successfully bluff us off bottom of range when his overs miss, but he c bets anyway. On the top right table, we've flopped a gut shot on a flush draw. We've been donked into. I don't see any reason to raise here. This is going to be underbluffed. It's going to be quite mergy. We turn the nuts. Our man now overbets, which surprised me. Fuck all he knows what he has here. And here's the thing here. I ended up just going with call here. And I think I've made a mistake. I think we should just jam. Jamming seems really fucking nitty. But this guy just isn't bluffing. And when he is bluffing, he's just bluffing with enormous amounts of, or what he thinks is enormous amounts of equity. So he's either not bluffing, and he's just got value, like a set or two pairs, which isn't folding, or he's got a high equity bluff, which isn't folding. I make a mistake here because I just call, and I think we should just jam because theoretically we just want to call. We want to keep his bluffs in, etc., etc. But if his bluffs are really equity driven and he has sets in range, then just go all in. It's just going to make far more money than call is, I would imagine, because he's not going to bluff the river probably. If he does have Jack 10 of hearts here or something like that, and the river breaks out, he's just going to give up most of the time because he's been called by an over on the turn, and the river is left with cock in hand. So I remember just calling here, and I think that's a mistake. I think I should just be all in. Now the board pairs, don't really care. We're still going to be all in, but now we just don't get called very often because we don't think King X is doing this at Canal Bluff Catch. Turn top left, we are betting straight. We get check raise large. This chap is not bluffing. I think we should probably just fold here. I remember the hand, we don't. But we're just fucked here. We're either chopping or we're dead. And when we're chopping or dead, folding's, in my opinion, the best play to make. It's just so unlikely that this guy is doing this without a straight. Way more likely he just has a flush. He's not doing this with the set, for example. Maybe once in a blue moon he does it with the nut flush blocker. But yeah, this is a bad call from me. Really bad call because our hand cannot improve. I mean, Reg, you've taken this much time over it and you haven't folded. Uh, Here we're going 8.5x versus an open. There's a good reason for this. In my 1 million hand video, we noted that population massively underfolds out of position versus three bets. Like we looked at it and bearing in mind I'm playing in softer games a lot of the time, but like my three bet success from cutoff and button was around 30%, something like that. Whereas when I was three betting from small and big blind, that three bet success went up to just under 50%. And that makes sense. People are opening from the button with wider ranges and they're just folding more often. Whereas from these earlier positions, and although I accept this is cut off versus button, from earlier positions, they just have naturally stronger hands that don't want to fold versus three bets. I mean, they're calling with hands that absolutely should fold versus three bets, but these people are bad. Like, we're all bad. I mean, we're all playing 25 and L. They've got a hand that's pretty and they want to see three with. So they just defend way too many hands. So in order to punish that, I just started three betting bigger versus early position with a pretty linear range, which is what we've done here with the aces. Do get a call. And we are going to fold top left. We're going to keep focusing on the aces. We go with range bet. I guess this is fine. We're just going to get value from like pocket eights, pocket nines, pocket sixes, pocket whatever. Oh, and we check in the end. Reg. I think range bet is better. This guy just isn't going to bluff anywhere often enough to justify checking back. Maybe I think he's just too thin to go for three streets. Maybe I was thinking that. And the guy just folded anyway. Suddenly there's a bit of waiting for players on and off. The pool was really small, as you can tell. We're playing four-handed. Do keep watching though. I do believe this was a good session to review. Gonna try and we'll probably end up getting 3 videos out of it because we're only 10 minutes into the session. So probably just break it up into 15-minute session chunks. Opening the 9-5 suit and the button. Probably a pip wider than theory. Not too fussed about that. We check back the Queen Jack on the deuce 7-3. I think now we should probably start betting. And bluff the river. Pairs, A size. We can get. I think there's loads of hands here that you land on the river. Oh, Reg! There's plenty of hands on the river there that you land on the river with that could just check fold that are better than Queen High. Calling with our flush draw. And probably just fold versus half pot, half pot. Their options are raise or fold, and I don't think this is the play to be trying to bluff raise against. Yes, Jack. Can't remember what's happened. There, but we're going to bluff the river, it looks like. Ah, yes. Raise pre-flop, check call flop, check turn. Now just bluff river. Because, again, I don't think we can bluff catch this spot. So, a hand that theoretically might want to be a bluff catcher that doesn't want to bluff catch, just bluff with it. Bluffing with bluff catchers, something I like to do. because we know population way on the bluffs. And if he's got a medium pair there that just has an easy call, then good for him. This one. This one's going to set some spines tingling. This ace king. 4x open. We 3-bet to 12x. Small blind. Snap cold 4-bets to 41 big blinds. Now, I know you're all going to want to be all in here. Then this other guy calls. And I think I made a mistake here. I think I made not just a mistake, a huge mistake. I end up folding here. And we don't get to see an outcome because there's just a bet post flop and someone takes it. And my thinking was that when we're in a flip, sometimes our outs are going to be blocked. And then quite often we're just going to be fucking in rough shape. But I think once the 41, I was just basically once this guy called 4-bet to this size, I was just done with the hand. I was just done with it and I switched off. And then this crypto called, and I think once crypto calls, we have an absolute slam dunk jam spot. An absolute slam dunk jam spot. But we're 137 bigs deep against someone who's 4x and then call and then the called 4-bet. Ranges are going to be insanely tight here. Not from the 4x guy, maybe. Fuck him. But from the guy who's bet the small blind. Finish your point and then return a phone call that I'm getting. But I made a huge mistake. A huge mistake. This should just be a jam. Got to. But this is a pretty big error. How much EV I'm making here by jamming? We have to be printing. Because Crypto Digger is just putting a lot of dead money in the pot. So even if we are in bad shape against the other guy, just say we've got ace king, he's got queens, and then Crypto Digger's got some kind of ace x, then that's probably the worst case scenario because our outs are blocked. But it could just be we're up against queens and jacks or queens and tens or something like that, and then we're just getting really good price on a coin flip. This is a huge mistake, but never mind. Just had a brain fart, didn't I? I just had a brain fart, but this is, in my opinion, this has to be a pretty significant mistake. I fold and watch, just praying to see pocket aces. Praying to see pocket aces. That were all in call, and I want aces. So I can be like, yeah, well done, Reg. But even if that was the case, it still wouldn't change anything. Still be a big mistake. So shut the fuck up, Reg. We're not going to get to see. I suspect, given the post-up action, we would have lost the pot. But again, that's just result-orientated bullshit. And we've got 2 more minutes of actual play to watch before it's the end of the video. We're going to go with a raise here versus someone who eventually gets tagged as a whale. So we've opened. He's min bet this flop. It could mean anything. It could be a king, could be an ace, could be a 9, could be a flush draw, could be pocket 3s. We don't know. The guy's a whale. But it's just a good board for us. So we just decided to attack his min donk with a raise. We got called. And the turn presents a second flush draw, which I'm not worried about backdoor flush draws. I think that's like such a small part of his range. Do with it to try and realise. And now I think we have a mandatory bluff. There's probably not going to have a high chance of success. But we can get 9x to fold. I mean, we've got the nut nothing, which is a problem. Maybe we can just check back the nut nothing. We're trying to make pairs fold. And do we want to try and make pairs fold? Well, I guess we do, and I guess we did. Oh, maybe he just had air. I guess we would bet there to just make like pocket fives, pocket sixes, just get in the bin. Not that it should have them, but who knows what goes through these players' minds. And we're getting to the end of the 15 minutes. So we're going to end the video with nothing much happening. So I hope you guys enjoyed. There's going to be 2 more of these. I'm making this on a Friday morning. I'm probably not going to put videos out Saturdays and Sundays. So probably just bang these out next week sometime as well. We're chatting again with Owen on Monday, so probably just bang these out maybe Wednesday and Friday next week, and then whack Owen in the middle. Who knows? But anyways, yeah, that's me out of here. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. I'm not going to ramble on in the second and third videos about how my month had been, etc. Do we want to do the end of month graph now? I guess we do because this one's coming out on the end of the month. Not the worst with €400 profit. We made that another 200 or so dollars in rate back, maybe more. I don't track that super accurately. So it's not a total disaster. We've made some money, but that win rate 5 bigs acceptable. But we ran 3 times above EV. Shit month. Just a really shit month. Just didn't play well basically. This is like starting the month 5th Janelle. iPoker doing well, decided to play GG, had a fucking disaster. Then we've done a regrind since then, basically. Yeah, I'm aware that this maybe sounds and looks a bit entitled already. You know, you've made money this month and you're fucking mourning, but the money's a byproduct of playing well and enjoying the game. And I haven't done either of those things in May. I haven't played well. I haven't enjoyed the game. We've won money, great, but more by accident than by design. So yeah, but it's going to be June in 14 hours, and we get to fresh page on the poker tracker, and we get to see. Oh, by the way, this I've changed my alias on 365, and there's like €60 profit from there to go, and then there's results from this session. So this isn't completely accurate for the month, and also I'm going to play later today, but it's 1 day. So yeah, it's not fully accurate results, but it's going to be close enough. Anyways, that's out of here. Yeah, the next video from this will be out on Monday, the whatever it will be, 3rd of June. Tune in for that. Take care and bye bye for now.